welcome to Reckless Paradise, everyone. I am your host, Marissa, and I'm here with my co-host, Dystro. Say hi.
Hello, everyone.
So, happy Thursday, everybody. Hope everybody's having a decent week so far. Um, my week's been okay. What about yours?
My, my week's been okay so far.
So, before we start tonight's episode, news to share in regards to Spotify for podcasters or whatever. So, as of June of this year, they are going to be partnering with Riverside, which is yet another podcasting website I actually was originally going to use for the show back when we first started. Um, with that being said, starting in June, we will not be able to record using Spotify for podcasters. However, I can still record using Riverside because Riverside is partnering with Spotify for podcasters. So that means if I want to record for the podcast, I'd have to use Riverside. But automatically, you can click save to Spotify for podcasters once we're done recording. So we can still use this app to export our audio and do what we got to do to upload it. So I just thought I would clear the air with that because I was supposed to talk to you about it after the show day show, but I just wanted to clear the air with that. So starting in June, that is how we will be uploading for now, and we'll be recording using the Riverside application. There is an app for that, luckily. It was actually an app that I wanted to try out a year or two ago with you, Daisha. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember that, but I think we kind of
Because we were going to do video podcasting at one point.
yeah, but then we were just like, let's not.
So maybe this will be the time to actually try and do it.
Oh man.
So, big
Uh,
changes coming this spring, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe you'll get to see our bright and shiny smiling faces.
huh.
So, I
It's-
honestly thought that was very interesting because I went to go open up the app tonight, the Spotify for Podcasters app, and there was a little update at the bottom of the page that said, as of 2024 in June, you will not be able to record on this app, but you can still export audio and anything recorded because they're partnering with Riverside. So, they're going to kind of collab and make it so that you can still export your podcast audio from Riverside to this app so you can still export it to your device so you can upload it, which I still think that's very cool. We're going to have to play around with it when it does come out. Um, so hopefully we can still keep recording, which we should be able to. Riverside, I heard, is a very good application. It's very similar to what we use now. So in a way, I'm kind of glad they're actually partnering with Spotify for podcasters because that's a huge step up because this is a very popular platform to use for recording.
mhm. I know some other people that I kind of know in some circles. They use Spotify for podcasters, but they also use Riverside.
Okay.
And then they use other podcasting like outlets, but I've seen nothing but good things about Riverside. So
So we're finally going to be able to test it out, and I've been wanting to test it out for a year or two now. So I think it's a good idea that we try it in the spring. But for now, the podcast is not going anywhere. This is how it will be up until June. So just thought I'd clear the air with that, so nobody gets confused, and so that way I don't really have to talk with you about it after the show.
yeah,
So, anyways, thank you all for joining tonight. We hope you enjoyed the episode. So we're kind of reverting back to Fall Out Boy for a little bit with a debate hour. Debate hour. So we are going to compare pre-hiatus Fall Out Boy to post-hiatus Fall Out Boy, also known as modern day, present day Fall Out Boy. So if you may recall, Fall Out Boy has had two very different eras in their career span. They have from what? When did they get together? Do you remember? Wasn't it like 01 or 02?
I think it was 01,
And their debut album didn't come out till 03,
3. Yeah.
but they had an EP come out before that. But so it's from early on days from 01 to 02 all the way up until 09, I believe. It was like 08, 09.
Oh
Um,
wait, with Folia do.
yeah. And then after that, they took about a 4 year hiatus from the band and came back in 2013, and they've been back ever since. So we are going to compare and contrast both of these very particular eras of Fall Out Boy. So let's start with pre-hiatus. I've got notes here, and I actually sent them to you because I was generous.
Yeah, I saw that.
So you have to also remember, folks, we did do the Fall Out Boy pilgrimage at the very end of last year, so this is still kind of fresh in our minds.
Hmm.
So from what I remember from pre-hiatus stuff, I found their stuff was heavier. Like it was heavier, a heavier form of pop punk.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Like
Uh,
in particular, our debut album, "Take This to Your Grave," was like super heavy.
yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
And then also in that same album, remember the Pete vocals, because Pete had some screaming parts in there.
Yeah. Um.
Like with Saturday. And there's a couple other ones.
Yeah.
Ouch. What do you remember from pre-hiatus days?
Well, I remember the like when we did the pilgrimage, like when we did debut albums, like we thought it was okay. I thought it was okay, but like there were some songs like you know it was like and plus like the it was just the song titles that were super long. It's like
Yep.
damn.
Like, how the fuck is this even fitting on the album?
Yeah, but it was just like I do remember, Under the Cork Tree was like the most best-selling album of all time
And
for
still
them,
is.
and still is. And then came after that, it was like what
Infinity on High.
Infinity on High, and then Fully Do. It's like from '03 to 2008 for them. It's like it was kind of a high and low for me at least
Right. Like,
because
I feel like with Infinity on High, that's when they kind of hit their peak.
yeah. It's like from Under the Court Tree. It's like yeah, it's like it shot them to like
The
superstar,
boom.
and then Infinity on High. It's like it reached kind of its peak, but then when Fully Do came out, it's like which like really rock bottom because it's like
Although, for some fucking reason, a lot of Fall Out Boy fans praise Folly Ado. I don't know if we missed something. I don't know if we had an off night. I really couldn't figure it out. Like, for me, it was just so different from what we had listened to because we did this all in order. We usually don't do pilgrimages in order, but we did this one in order.
mhm.
And I don't know if it was just because we were so used to what we had just heard from the first three albums because they're so hard and heavy.
I I guess so, but like if I may, it's like Fully Do. It debuted at number 8 on the U.S. Billboard 200, and it sold like over 149,000 copies and stuff. Although it was less successful than Infinity on High, though.
Yeah.
So it's like it wasn't a huge success, but like it still got some positive reviews from critics, though, which is a good
Yeah.
thing.
That is a good thing.
But like I guess it's just like we just didn't see what other people were seeing for it.
Yeah, it happens. Like, we don't always see eye to eye with typical Fall Out Boy fans, and that's fine. Like, everybody has their own tastes, everybody has their own likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
I found with the pre-hiatus Fall Out Boy, they had more hits. I find like there were a lot more iconic hits, like "I Don't Care," "This Ain't a Scene," "Thanks for the Memories," "Sugar We're Going Down," "Saturday,"
Take over
uh,
breaks over.
takes. I was gonna put that one too. Grand Theft Autumn / Where's Your Boy. I find there's more iconic hits with pre-hiatus. Another thing I kind of found that's kind of negative though with pre-hiatus. 90, like almost 80 to 90% of the songs, it's hard to understand Patrick's vocals.
Yeah, because he kind of says something so fast.
Yeah, it's like you have to
Going
go.
down,
It's
down.
like you have to go look up the lyrics and pray to God that the person that actually put the lyrics in are accurate.
Right. Instead of like, it's like, because like, I remember seeing some times on like song meanings, like when I look up certain things, like they're like, no, it's not this lyric, but it's this lyric. I'm like, it's still the exact same fucking lyric. stupid.
Is there anything else you want to add to the pre-hiatus side?
I really enjoyed uh 3 out of the 4 for the pre-hiatus
I agree with you
albums
there. I agree with you there.
because
My favorite being Infinity on High out of the four.
yeah, I really enjoyed Infinity on High too. Uh, it was like Take This to Your Grave, like that was like the beginning of their journey, and then from Under the Court Tree, it's like rises up, and then Infinity on High is still like very huge climax, and then it's like all you do is just
Doink.
like like it's like they just got shot out of a cannon with like just fell. Um, it's like I just didn't really get connected to the Foley Do thing. Um, but I do agree with you, like with Tickets to Your Grave and High and From Under the Court Tree. It's like we both really connected with those three because it's like we kind of like it was kind of feeling like like we I guess as the viewer, it's like we're just witnessing what they can bring to the table, sort of
Yeah,
thing. But yeah, like 3 out of the 4 pre-hiatus was like it's not bad.
it was pretty strong to be
Yeah,
honest. Yeah.
yeah.
Moving on to post hiatus slash present day Fall Out Boy from 2013 to now. So with present day Fall Out Boy, number one, I'm more familiar with it because I
Hmm.
found Fall Out Boy at about a year after they came back from their hiatus. I found them in 2014, which means this year marks 10 years since I have been listening to them. That is crazy to think about. I was in 7th grade when I found them, and they changed my life forever. So let's revert back to the vocals issues. With Patrick here, you can actually understand his vocals a lot better, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it's like he's not really like it's like more like very pronunciated and
It's clearer.
you can hear the syllables.
Yeah, it's a lot clearer.
Yeah. A little down though, it's like we don't get any more of the Pete unclean vocals.
Sad face. That's the only thing that really kind of drags the post hiatus stuff down. We don't get any more of Pete's screaming vocals, so sad face. But
Which,
who knows? Maybe Pete will bring it back someday. I don't know.
which like I've told this probably many times before on this channel. Unclean vocals is a very, very hard thing to do if you're a singer.
Yeah,
Uh, you gotta have the vocal cords to do it. You gotta have the vocal strength to do it.
you gotta have
Take
the training to do it.
Yeah, you gotta have the training to do it. Like what is his name? Um,
Corey Taylor.
well, Corey Taylor, yes, but uh, lead singer from Trivium.
Oh, him. I don't listen to trivia, but I know who you're
Matt. He,
talking about.
his first name is Matt. So Matt, uh, for the longest time, like he would do like unclean vocals sometimes, but it got to a point where his like vocal cords were strained by doing it so much. So
Ugh.
then like he had to like try to like really concentrate and make sure like his vocal cords were very, very not strained anymore, Uh um unclean vocals from Issues too.
Oh, Michael.
Michael. He's like he's very, very good at unclean vocals. Like it probably took a lot of practice and a
Fuck
lot
yeah.
of like concentration and like I've said with Corey Taylor too, it's like he's an unclean vocalist sometimes too, yeah. But it was because of his smoking and the drinking made him not do it anymore because it was just putting more strain on his voice, and it almost caused like severe severe like throat issues in his throat because he couldn't even speak sometimes, and
Yeah,
that's a hard thing to do.
it
Um,
is.
and I mean, I guess like when Pete did it, it's probably took a lot more strain on his voice than anything. but even though you could barely hear it, it's like, it's still there.
Yeah.
And plus it wasn't like, for every album. It was just like here and there, like in songs. Uh which I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, Pete doing like the little roars,
I thought
the
it was a nice touch. Like, that's kind of cool. Like, you were not expecting it.
yeah. Um what can I say about the post hiatus stuff? I mean,
Well, I mean,
it is very more intangible. It's not untangible.
it's
uh
definitely more poppy. I'm gonna,
yeah,
especially Mania.
well, yeah, Mania, like, yeah, no, get out of here. But I think, like, I guess it was just like we probably could have seen it coming with Fully Ado. It was kind of getting more towards of that
It was pretty much like
poppy
a
stuff.
precursor to
Yeah.
what was to come in the years to come. Now, I mean, Save Rock and Roll. Like, the problem with that album, I played it so much. I played it so much when I was younger. It's like I kind of outgrew it. But I
Mhm.
really dig what they did with the video series. They turned it into like a little mini movie kind of thing on
Mhm.
YouTube, the Young Blood Chronicles. I really hats off to that. Like, that is fucking badass as hell. Like, what a way to come back from a hiatus. Like, that's actually pretty cool. And you had like fucking Tommy Lee, you had Courtney Love, you had Elton John, Big Sean, fucking Two Chains. Like, you had all these guests on there. Like, I thought it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that more than anything,
It
to
was
be
actually
honest with you.
cool.
Yeah. Um, even in Fox's on just one yesterday
Oh
too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot about her.
Uh, I think a lot of people do forget about her because she's just not very well known a
Yeah.
lot.
I mean, she was in like 2013, 2014 when pop was like huge.
Yeah, and plus it's like it worked out very well because, like, they were going for that kind of style a little bit, but it wasn't so prominent now,
Right.
like it was in like Mania or American Beauty, American Psycho, and all
Oh man. Let me tell you. I
that.
love American Beauty, American Psycho. I love that album to death. I could listen to it on repeat for a long time, to be honest. Speaking of that album, I feel like that album's always been the underdog of Fall Out Boy, to be honest with you. Um, Either whether it's pre-hiatus or post-hiatus we're talking about, like that album, and of all the albums that Fall Out Boy has made, I feel like that one's like the underdog. I feel like nobody talks about it. Like besides Mania, like Mania obviously would be another one too, which I'll get to in a minute. But I've always liked American Beauty, American Psycho. I remember the hype for it coming out. I remember how excited I was for it to come out. Like the hype was real. I had the picture for Fall Out Boy's Centuries single. They had the whole teaser pic on Facebook and stuff. I had that picture as my profile picture for the longest time.
I think I did too.
Fucking the X-ray of the fist or whatever, the boxing glove. I thought it was fucking cool. Um, so I know we did say that post hiatus is not as heavy, it's more poppy. However, there are some songs that do call back to their heavier days of the pre hiatus stuff. One good example for me personally is Novocaine from American Beauty, American Psycho.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Man, that shit's good. Speaking of Novocaine, I kind of have it down as like a hidden gem track, and what I mean by a hidden gem track is a track that kind of goes unnoticed, a track that doesn't get
Mhm.
talked about a lot. And I find that there is a lot of hidden gem tracks when it comes to the post hiatus Fall Out Boy stuff compared to mainstream tracks. Like, yeah, you get my songs "Know What You Did in the Dark," "Light 'Em Up." Like that is one of the biggest mainstream tracks of all time from Fall Out Boy. But I
Mhm.
always find there's a lot more hidden gems with this side of Fall Out Boy. Like you've got Novocaine, you've got um what did I put? You've got Bishop's Knife Trick, you've got What a Time to Be Alive, you've got Miss Missing You. Like I picked a track from each album from this era to try to use it as an example of a hidden gem. All four of those tracks are really good. All four of those tracks hardly get talked about. And all four of those tracks, like I think they could have been something bigger.
Right. I would say for me, I would say Love from the Other Side from the latest album kind
Oh.
of encapsulates their roots a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because it kind of calls back to like maybe debut a little bit, but kind of maybe rounds around from Under the Court Tree kind of era, maybe a little bit.
I agree. Like I remember when Love from the Other Side was being teased to come out as a single.
hmm
And I remember like everybody saying, "Oh my God, they are actually playing guitars now! Like they're bringing the guitars back." And
hmm
I actually kind of noticed that. I'm like, "Damn, they are coming back heavier. Like that's kind of cool." But so let's talk about this real quick. I find with the post hiatus stuff, there's more creativity involved. I find the creativity flow is stronger here, especially like I know I put American Beauty, American Psycho in the notes, but I want to talk about the last two albums that came out this past year, and then one from 2018. So let's start with the 2018 one, Mania. So this album is probably the most hated Fall Out Boy album of all time. No, not a lot of Fall Out Boy fans really care for this album, but I actually kind of don't mind it. It is a lot more poppy, and it has a lot more like of an electronic feel to it. Um, I could definitely say they stepped outside of their creativity safe zone. We'll call it. They stepped out of their comfort zone with this one. I personally don't mind this album. It took me a couple tries to get into it, and I actually quite like it. Bishop's Knife Trick has to be one of my favorite songs of all time. Same thing with Wilson, Expensive Mistakes. I mean, like, come on, it's so good. The music video is funny as hell. Um, it's just I like it. I really don't mind Mania, and I mean, to each their own. I know that you didn't really care for it first time through.
Yeah, I just I just don't know what it was. It was just because probably
It was different.
it was different. Yeah. Because I'm kind of used to like pre-hiatus Fall Out Boy stuff, like from Under the Court Tree and Infinity on High and all that stuff. And then when we listened to this whole way through, I was like in my head, I'm like, oh my god, like I can see why a lot of people were just super down on this album.
It's funny
Uh,
though. It's so funny to me because this is another album I remember the hype for it. I actually I actually got to listen to this album a few hours before its release date. It was supposed to release like I think it was January 20th of 2018 at midnight or something like that. I know it was at midnight. It was like either the 20th or the 21st was supposed to come out. I actually got to listen to it a couple hours early because somebody leaked it. Somebody ended up leaking it on YouTube, and I found it, and I got to listen to it. So, yeah, like I said, I don't really mind it at all. It's actually my first Fall Out Boy album I purchased. I'm kind of happy to say that. And it's actually my first Fall Out Boy shirt I ever purchased. I have a Mania shirt here. So let's revert back to modern day So Much for Stardust, which came out almost a year ago this coming March. I can't believe it's going to be turning a year old already.
hmm,
Um, that album is so good. I also own that album. And I feel like that album shows the most creativity out of the four for
uh, yeah,
post.
I would say so. Yeah.
They really put their heart and souls into this album. It's 13 tracks long, and with the final track, it kind of like reconnects you back to the first song because in the first song you hear the lyrics, "What would you trade the pain for? I'm not sure." You also hear that same lyric at the end at the closing track. So much
hmm
for Stardust. So I thought that was a very, very nice touch. It kind of reverts back to the first track. Kind of similar to actually what we were talking about the other night with Pink Floyd when they kind of had their closing track take you back to the first track.
Like on a loop.
Yep, I thought that was a very nice touch. I like when bands or artists do that. I think it's awesome. A really good way of using their creativity. With So Much for Stardust, like, yeah, you've got your heavier songs, you've got your mellow songs, and then you have like two little interludes where there's some talking going on,
Yeah, with
which the pink seashell,
hmm
a quarter pounder with cheese.
yeah. If anybody doesn't know where that is from, it's from Reality Bites. '94 film, by the way. Uh,
Nerd.
hey, uh, it's got Ethan Hawke, Ben Stiller, and Renata Ryder in it, and it's like one of those movies like it doesn't get a lot of hype around it, sort of thing, but it's kind of becoming like a cult classic over time, sort of thing. Um, but yeah, it's like I didn't like when I remember the hype for the pink seashell thing because uh I think didn't Fall Out Boy like put it on their Instagram like all these like different things
Oh
and it had the pink
yeah, and
seashell
people
on it.
had to go. I think people were getting them sent in the mail too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I was actually, you know what's funny? I was actually checking my PO box from the time they started doing that up until the album came out, and I was praying to God I got something because they were sending them to fans. Like, if you signed up for the fan letter, like they had you put your address in, like your
Mhm.
shipping address. I put mine. I was like, damn, I hope I get something, and I never got anything. So I was like, golly, that kind of sucks. And then some people actually, I think Fall Out Boy's Instagram account, they posted like a location of where they put like a mystery pink seashell box in
Mhm.
public, and you'd
Mhm.
have to go find it. And if you found it, you need to post it on your socials and tag Fall Out Boy. And there are people that actually found it. Like, god damn.
It's like one of those like things that are it's like it's very interactive and I kind of like that.
Me too. I think they really did a good job with creativity for this album, promoting it, getting the word out, getting the fans involved. And now, even on their tour, they do this like Magic 8 Ball thing where they play a certain track that's not on their set list. Like each show is a different Magic 8 Ball song. Like for example, like Chicago, Illinois, they play like their Magic 8 Ball song is probably American Beauty, American Psycho. And then you go next week to another show in like Albany or something. Their Magic 8 Ball song is Saturday from Take This to Your Grave. Like every show is a different Magic 8 Ball song.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's fucking cool as hell. It's like you never know which song you're going to get played at your show. So I
Right.
think that's also another nice touch that Fall Out Boy is doing. Honestly, like the creativity on that album was off the charts. I think they did a really good job. Good outcome, good sales. Like, oh my god.
Mhm. Another thing that I kind of liked in the video aspect of the songs, "Hold Me Like a Grudge." It was the continuation of "This Ain't a Scene, It's an Arms Race."
Yeah.
I kind of liked that. That was kind of cool because I was like, oh man, like it like fades to black as soon as like Pete like dives off onto these people, and it's like we just never know what happened. But then like with "Hold Me Like a Grudge" plays and all that stuff, it's like you see what happens after he falls onto the people, and it's like I kind of like how they did that. Um, so here was the pink seashell thing. Um, it was that what was it? Is the website sending my love from the other side.com. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yes.
Because and it was like talking about like Ollie Sykes from Bring Me the Horizon posted he had received a package in the mail and had a pink seashell labeled 1 out of 13,
Yeah, I
and
remember that.
then it says like the date with like January 18th, 2023, and has Love from the Other Side, and then it says the lead single from Love from the Other Side was announced on January 11th. And it's like there's like different things like the another package was like the coordinates leading to the Field of Dreams movie site in Dyersville, Iowa, and stuff. Uh, and then like a promotion featuring like Nicole Kidman's advertising for AMC theaters and all that stuff. That third package was in Wrigley Field in Chicago.
Yeah. Okay, this is starting to come back to me now.
Yeah. uh, I thought it was kind of cool that they did that as well. Like, just went like, okay, what are we gonna do to promote all this stuff? You know, okay, we're gonna take it to Ollie Sykes' house. Okay, we're gonna have him post on the Instagram story. Look at this. I got a pink seashell. So it's like I'm kind of glad that they got other people involved as well, being
Yeah.
like, okay, like help us promote our stuff, and then and plus like they went on tour
I was
with
about to say that. Yeah, Bring Me the Horizon went on tour with Fall Out Boy.
They went on tour with Bring Me the Horizon, Alkaline Trio, Newfound Glory, 4 Years Strong, The Academy Is, uh, and then and that was like towards the end of January too. There's
Wow.
that So Much for Stardust tour. Uh, there's like 30 dates across North America, and it was like Bring Me the Horizon, uh, Alkaline Trio, Newfound Glory, 4 Years Strong, like all I said, and then they did like Europe and UK and all that stuff. And they had previous on that leg of the tour, and then nothing nowhere as well on that tour.
Yeah, it was a big fucking tour.
They went all over the place,
They
like
did.
because it was like they were they did across the U.S. and then they went to Europe and UK, and then they came back to the U.S. later on that year with like Jimmy Eat World and the Main and Hot Mulligan and all that stuff too. And then they went to Wrigley Field, and then they ended it this year. Well, they're going to be ending this year on April 6th at the Target Center in Indianapolis.
Ah,
So that's where it ends this year.
jeez.
Like,
They're
it's like,
busy.
yeah, I mean, yeah, they are busy, but it's like, it's like their album's about to turn a year old, and April, it's going to be a huge month for Fall Out Boy fans, I guess, anyway, because it's like you get to see, your favorite band in Indianapolis. But you never know like who's going to be like the supporting act or whatever too. So that'd be kind of cool.
Right.
But
Ah,
uh I rambled on for a little bit too long. I'm sorry,
you're
but
good.
but it was pretty cool how they promoted it.
I agree. So that's kind of why it's kind of hard to choose between pre-hiatus and post-hiatus. But the time has come and we have to do that right now. So, what do you prefer? Did you prefer the pre-hiatus old school Fall Out Boy roots, or do you prefer post-hiatus Fall Out Boy with the modern day stuff as well?
Hmm. Good question. Okay, so I really liked pre-hiatus stuff. Like, 3 out of the 4 albums, that was pretty good. That was super solid. With post-hiatus and stuff, it's like, yeah, Save Rock and Roll was like that was like the one album that I had listened to a few times over as well. Uh, with American Beauty, American Psycho, I could just take it or leave it, sort of thing. Uh, didn't really enjoy Mania, sorry. And So Much for Stardust, like that's the first album that we listened to together twice at this
Hell
point.
yeah.
And so it's like it has that sentimental value to it for me. But if I had to pick, I would probably go with pre-hiatus because I'm more synonymous with their roots in pre-hiatus because that's where I grew up on.
Yeah.
With like Dance Dance, Take Over the Breaks Over, like Thanks for the Memories, all that stuff. It's like I didn't get much more into Fall Out Boy after Save Rock and Roll because like I was like, okay, well, Save Rock and Roll, like that's probably gonna be it, sort of thing. But it's like I just didn't really get more into that after that. But
Right.
but that's just me. I'm gonna go with pre-hiatus on
All
this.
right. Well, I'm actually going to agree with you. I'm going with pre hiatus. However, I love post hiatus Fall Out Boy, and that era always has a special spot in my heart because that's when I found them. I found them during the post hiatus era, like I said, specifically a year after the hiatus concluded. So that era will always have a special place in my heart, especially like I said with the creativity of their very last album they just did, So Much for Stardust. I love the album to death. But I'm going with pre hiatus here just because of the logics here. Think about it. If you may recall, when we did the album ranking and our top 10 songs, my favorite song was from pre hiatus, and it actually came from Infinity on High. And my favorite album is Infinity on High. So think about it. It would make more sense to pick pre hiatus over post hiatus just based off of that. But I like the heavier stuff. I really do. I was kind of worried when we started the Pilgrims. I'm like, man, I hope I like this stuff because I'm not familiar with the pre hiatus stuff so much. I only knew the hits, the basic hits. But
Mm.
now that we have listened to every single album from front to back, I can definitely say I truly enjoyed the pre hiatus stuff just a hair more than the post hiatus stuff because the pre hiatus stuff, 90% of it was new to me. I hadn't heard a lot of the stuff beforehand, and I really, really enjoyed it. Minus Folly Ado, I didn't care for it, but the first three albums, top tier, especially with Screaming Pete. I mean, come on, can't forget the guy liner too.
Oh, brother,
That
not
kind
the
of that kind of went out the window after fucking post hiatus came around.
yeah, it did.
So that is our answer. We both agree we prefer the pre hiatus era over the post hiatus era for Fall Out Boy. What would you guys choose based off of what we just talked about? What would you guys choose? Are you guys more of a classic Fall Out Boy fan from their earlier days, or do you guys prefer the stuff from 2013 up to this point? Let us know in the comments or on social media. I'd like to hear from you guys. So, our next episode scheduled for this Sunday, we are actually breaking down another album for you guys. Recently, we broke down Pink Floyd's album Wish You Were Here, and man, that album is top notch. You guys should go watch the episode if you haven't already. But we are reverting all the way back to our AC/DC pilgrimage from 2022. And remind you, there are 18 AC/DC albums, and we've almost not even covered half of them at all.
Yeah, that.
We are way behind.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, it's a good album that we're getting to.
Now
Almost
it's a good
okay.
album, yeah. Like after we've played it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, well, it was after the first time for me.
Well, for you, for me, it took me a while. I was stubborn. But
Uh huh.
we are reverting back to 1983 with AC/DC's album Flick of the Switch. Now, Flick of the Switch is an album that did not do very well in the charts or for AC/DC in general. Uh, when they did Flick of the Switch, and actually even when they did Fly on the Wall, Malcolm was just like, "Fuck it, like let's just get this over with." Like they didn't care for these albums. They didn't put a lot of production into these two albums. We did Fly on the Wall already, by the way, but Flick of the Switch is the other one where they didn't do too much production on it. That's why it didn't gain a lot of traction. However, I do like this album now, and Dystro likes this album, so we're like, "Fuck it, let's go and break it down." We had just listened to this album. What was it? The end of last year. We did like a re-listening thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was sometime in November or early December. We decided to listen to this album again, and honestly, it's great. And there's 10 tracks ready to be broken down and ranked. So that'll be this Sunday. The breakdown of Flick of the Switch. I'm actually very excited to do this
Yeah, me too.
because we
Because
really haven't done a lot of AC/DC stuff lately.
yeah, we haven't done a lot of AC/DC stuff, which is like, it's like that's a disservice a little bit, but you know,
And it's ironic that we're doing it now because AC/DC announced they are going back out on tour, but it's only in the Europe area. So
I mean, to be fair, it's like they probably have a more of a fan base in
they
Europe
aren't
and
even
stuff.
doing it in their home country of Australia.
I mean, to be fair, like I said, they probably have more fan base in England and in Europe in general. than the U.S. because a lot more. I think I don't know if they had done a. Well, they've probably done a Europe tour like many, many times
They've
before.
done US tours, they've done everything. If you remember the Black Ice tour, that tour was massive.
Yeah, but it's like I'm guess it's pretty. I guess it's a good thing that they're doing touring now because it's like
4 years later after the album came out.
but but like it's like they're not spring chickens anymore. They're getting up there in age, and so it's like it's better late than never sort of thing. Uh, like, cause like Ozzy, he just finished touring too. Like he just wrapped up not too long ago. And like there's some other bands that I'm probably forgetting about, but like like they're like I said, they're not spring chickens anymore. So they've been doing this for a long time. So it's like that'd be kind of cool to see ACDC live, but we'll probably never get that luxury. So, but
I'm hoping they turn their asses around and come to the US because. But the thing is, like, I wouldn't even be able to go anyways. Tickets are probably like a fortune.
I think
They're probably like fucking $500 a ticket. Like, ACDC is the biggest fucking rock group right now. Like, think about it.
I know a little stuff right here, but I remember I think it was like for Def Leppard at Camping World Stadium, it was like $100 and something per person.
Oh, that ain't shit, man. That ain't bad. Try going to a concert for ACDC. My dad, back in 1980, actually, my dad got to go see ACDC in concert. Now, I don't know if it was after Bond died or if this was before Bond died. I don't know. But my dad got to go see them back in the day. Obviously, tickets were probably cheaper back then. But
Hmm.
man, what an experience! Like if you had to pee, you had to pee where you were standing. There was no moving.
Uh-uh.
There was literally no moving. Like you had to piss where you were standing. And if you move, you lose your spot where you're standing. So I can already see if we were to go to an AC/DC concert, we're fucked.
Yeah, it's like there would be no way.
Yeah, like oh my god, it'd be so packed. But enough rambling. Uh, you, you, my friend, have the song for this episode. What you got?
So I'm gonna just stick with Fall Out Boy,
For
obviously.
that boy.
Um, so I'm just probably gonna go with Thanks for the Memories,
Hell yeah, with fucking one of the Kardashians in the video.
which is still fucking mind blowing, by the
How the
way.
fuck did Pete get that?
Pete was in his bag.
Okay. So, thanks for the memories by Fall Out Boy from Infinity on High. That is tonight's song of the night. If you want to take a listen, feel free to. There will be a link at the top right hand corner at the end of the episode that's going to pop up. There is a music video, like we just mentioned. Go take a watch. It's really cool, honestly, really funny. Um, so, if you guys stuck around to the very end, we greatly appreciate your support. Be sure to go on ahead and follow us on social media by clicking on that link in the description below, which should take you to Linktree. We have Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, and Twitter. Go on ahead and follow us there to keep up to date with the show. Also, Dystro's gaming YouTube channel is there as well. We did some GTA not too long ago. We've done a lot of other games this week too, but didn't get a lot of clips. I think we did Gang Beasts earlier this week as well. Did you get clips
Mhm.
from that?
I think I did, but I can't remember, to be honest
If
with you.
if you didn't,
If you didn't, uh,
oh. So what are you at right now for subs?
1,144.
Wow. Okay. So I think the new goal is supposed to be what, end of the month for
Yeah,
1,200.
yeah, it was like end of the month for 1,200. Yeah.
So if you guys haven't done so already, please go subscribe to Dystro's channel. Go share his stuff around, please. Get him to 1,200 subscribers by the end of the month, which means we actually have an extra day this month because there's a leap year. So get
Oh
to it,
yeah.
people. Get to it. This month's already going by quick. We're already halfway through the month as of today. So get to it,
Yeah.
people. Um, once again, take a listen to tonight's song of the night. Thanks for the memories by Fall Out Boy. And that's it. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you guys this Sunday. Peace.
Peace.